Hey everyone, I'm BBD and I'm joined again by Bradley Nelson.
It's
and
Brad Nelson.
Bradley J. Nelson, and I am going to be doing a deck tech for this Abzan enchantment deck that I'm going to be battling with in this versus video. Got a couple of sweet new tools from Magic Origins, so let's go ahead and take a look at what awesome things we have.
All right.
Like Nissa.
Yeah, that's a great enchantment
That's a
to
great
start off
enchantment to
on.
start with. All right, we just have one Nissa in the deck. It's not really a big deal.
Do we only have one?
Yeah, that's actually the Planeswalker side.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just wanted to be able
Have
to
both, yeah.
Yeah, so I could be like, hey, what happens when Nissa flips? Turns into another
It
proxy.
multiplies.
Yeah. So really, there's two cards from the new set that can kind of maybe invigorate playing a constellation themed deck, and one of them is Sigil of the Empty Throne. And anyone who's ever played against Enchantress and Legacy knows how annoying this card is. Just whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you get to put a 4/4 angel into play. And it doesn't matter if the card gets countered or whatever. It's just whenever you play one, you just immediately get a 4/4 angel. So
I just figured out why you're playing this deck. Because you're friends with Ollie, and he has an angel token.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure this is Ollie's favorite card in the new set.
Yep.
In more ways than one. But yeah, that is pretty sweet actually. And then the other card is Starfield of Nyx. This is a mythic enchantment, and it's kind of an interesting one. It's actually a really, really powerful card, but it requires a little bit to set up. And the way it works is every upkeep you get to put an enchantment from your graveyard back into play, and if you ever control 5 or more enchantments other than the Starfield, all your enchantments are creatures with power and toughness equal to their mana cost.
So it counts as the 5th, but it does not animate.
No. Oh, yeah. That's right. It does count as the 5th, but it doesn't become a creature itself. One awesome thing that you can actually do with Starfield and Nyx is, and the reason it's even in the deck at all is you can loop Fawn of Fertility every single turn. So if you have a Starfield and Nyx, you can just, and you don't have anything else to bring back, you can just always keep bringing back a font, sacking it, getting another land, bringing it back every turn. And if we have something like Eidolon of Blossoms, we can draw a card every time we do that. Or if we have something like Corsair or Crewfix, we can use that interaction to manipulate what we're drawing every single turn.
Well, it also kind of puts them in the torture chamber of this will just let you keep bringing back Eidolons and Corsairs. And so you always have this constant card advantage engine until they get rid of that. So as long as you're stable and keeping their pressure off the board, that card can just eat away with card advantage. And where Sigil needs you to have cards in hand, this card can just be your last resource and still fighting your opponent's top decks just by its ability to bring things back. So I do like the split where one is really good when you have resources and one's really good when you don't.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that a lot where, the two, they operate at different ends of the spectrum, and it's not like they're bad together either. They both work well with each other as well. So that's pretty cool. And then past that point, we have a pretty much standard constellation theme with our Eidolons, Doomwakes, Corsairs, Brain Maggot, and a couple of Banishing Lights, which unfortunately is going to be really awkward against Perilous Vault and Ugin, but it just basically serves as a hero's downfall of sorts for that matchup.
Yeah, if I end up getting Ugin in our match, and maybe we had a mismatched video, but it's still going to stop the Perilous Vault. So if you have aggression, my Wrath takes a turn to untap, where that's actually powerful. So when I Ugin minus, then I'm just getting all the riches of getting another minus in play.
That's true, yeah. But generally speaking, if you're Ugin minusing, I can almost scoop them up anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that I'm losing the game even more than I was already losing the game.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it is a way to answer Perilous Vault and Ashiok and things like that. And then past that point, we do have a few Den Protectors, which, because we have Satyr Wayfinder, Satyr Wayfinder is going to dump things in our graveyard that's going to help with Starfield and Nyx. But Den Protector also works really well with that, where we can pick things back out. And it's just a way to ensure that if we happen to mill over our Starfields or Sigil, that we still have a way to get those back again and start going again. So it's just a little bit more recursion. It also works really well with things like Thoughtseize and Ultimate Price and just the standard cards that Den Protector's already good with. Same thing here. And then beyond that, we have a pretty standard mana base. We have a lot of basics though, because we do have Nissa and Fauna Fertility and fetch lands, so we want to make sure that we don't run out of lands to search up. We only have 22 lands total, which is pretty low, But between Seder, Wayfinder, and Font, I'm anticipating us being able to still hit our land
Oh no,
drops.
I'm not playing anticipate.
Oh, you're not?
No,
Oh, okay.
you're predicting.
I'm impulsing that we'll still hit our land drops. Is that correct English? Where's Ross Merriam? So, all right, but that is the main deck for the Abzan Constellation deck. Let's look at the sideboard. All right, so we are back with the sideboard here, where we have another Doomwake Giant for Hordeling Outburst style decks. Another Starfield for grindy matchups where we're going to want more of that kind of effect. Some more removal spells. A Virulent Plague, which is going to be really good against like Hordeling Outbursts and things like that. And there's also an enchantment, which is nice. The awkward thing about this, though, is it does make our Angels from Sigil of the Empty Throne smaller.
I feel like if we're having that problem, it's not a problem at all.
Yeah, I think 2/2 Angels will probably still get the job done if we're, locking our opponent out.
Yeah, if that's a viable card in the matchup.
Yeah. A Valor Stance, another removal spell, a Tazagur. We do dump cards into our graveyard, so for some of the control matchups, we can use Tazagur to rebuy. A couple of Masteries and Nyx Fleece Rams. These are just good enchantments for some matchups, basically. And then the complete complement of Thoughtseize for the control decks, and a few Elspeths for mostly Abzan decks is where I like Elspeth. But
I mean, I also at least like my decks to have some good cards in them.
Right. I wanted to make sure that, since my main deck and 13 of my 15 sideboard cards are bad, that at least to have a couple so that I can look at them when I'm losing.
Yeah.
When I'm like, let me check my sideboard. All right, you win. But yeah, that's the Abzan Constellation deck. I'm going to be battling against Brad Nelson's Bad Guy, Blue-Black Control.
Fun Police.
Yeah, the Fun Police. So we'll see if I can still have fun through the police.
Yep. No one ever has fun through the police.
That's correct. No one does.